This video is going to talk about resolving remainders in long division. So this is going to start out like a normal division problem. Of course, the first thing we're going to want to do is estimate. So looking at our total under the table, we want to find a compatible number to change it to that's going to be easy to divide by 4. So I'm going to list my multiples of 4. I can keep going if I need to. And I'm going to choose the one that's closest to my total. So here I think 8 is the closest. So I'm going to change this number to 8 divided by 4 is 2. And because I made this number smaller in my estimate, I know this is an underestimate. Okay, now I can go about dividing, and it's going to start out the way we normally divide. So I'm going to ignore the decimal, pretend this is a large number problem, label my place value columns, and start dividing. So starting with the largest place value piece, I'm asking myself how many in each. So if I have 9 and I'm putting them into 4 groups, I can put 2 in each group. Then I multiply, subtract, and bring it on down. Then I ask myself how many in each. 14 goes into 4 groups. 3 times is the most I can do. Multiply, subtract, and bring it on down. 25 goes into 4 groups 6 times. Multiply, subtract, and then I would say bring it on down, and I'd say, well, I don't have anything left to bring it on down, so it looks like I have a remainder of 1. So up until this point we would have written remainder of 1. But this lesson is all about resolving remainders. So from now on, we're not going to leave a remainder. We're going to resolve it. We're going to keep working on it until we've shared it all out. So what we've said here is, starting from our total, we've been able to give this many pieces to each group, but we have 1 left over. So instead of saying, okay, we'll just leave that to the side and pretend we don't need to share that piece as well, we're going to say to ourselves, well, no, in division, we share everything equally. We share the whole total equally. So we need to split up this one piece. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to add a 0 to our total. Now, we already know that when you add 0, you don't actually add anything. So we haven't changed the total that we've started with, but it's given us a number to bring it on down. So when we did our subtraction, our next step is bring it on down. So we're going to add a 0 so that we can bring it on down. Now we have 10. So I can ask myself the next step, how many in each? 10 goes into 4 groups. I have enough to put 2 in each group. Then I multiply, subtract, and bring it on down. And again, I don't have anything here left to bring it on down, so I add a 0. We know that adding 0 doesn't change the amount. So now I can bring it on down. Now I have 20. 20 goes into 4 groups. Let's see. I think I can put it in 5 times. Then 5 multiply is 20. Subtract, and I'm left with 0. So once I've done this as many times as I need to so that I'm left with a 0 remainder, then I know that I'm finished. Okay, so then I can stop dividing. I did start with a decimal, however, so I need to put a decimal into my final answer. My estimate was 2, but I said that was an underestimate, and so it makes sense for my answer to be a little bit more than 2, so it makes sense for my decimal to go here. All right, now the trick is, with my final answer, I've used more place value columns than my original question. So when I actually give this answer, I've shown all my work, and I'm going to get a mark for that, but for my final answer, I need to state my answer with the same number of place value columns in the decimal as my original total. So here I have 2 columns after the decimal. So I have tenths and hundredths. So I need to make sure my answer only has tenths and hundredths. So the way that I figure that out is I look at the next number after the column that I'm going to show, and I use this number to decide if I'm going to round up or round down. And we already know that the way we do that is if it's smaller than 5, we round down. If it's 5 or larger, we round up. So here I have a 2, so I'm going to round down, which means I just leave this 6 as it is. So my answer will be written as 2 and 36 hundredths. Okay, so I've shown my exact answer, and I get a mark for that, but then I also want to show the answer with the same number of place value columns as the question.